Y'all mind if I...
Come on in, guys!
Hello, and welcome to Noclass. My name is Jack, I am your host, and today, Jeff Probst. Now, a lot of you may not know this, but I am a huge fan of Survivor. Now, I may be a big Survivor nerd now, but until this year, I had never seen a single episode. The first episode I watched was episode 1 of season 7, Rupert Islands. Gotta hold it down for my Hoosier boys. What can I say? In the episode, they steal a bunch of things off of a boat, they go into a town and try and sell all those things for money. Then they use that money to buy the supplies that will last them the rest of the season. It's one of the best intros the show has ever had. Didn't know that at the time, but I was instantly hooked. I knew I was going to fall head over heels in love with this show. What I didn't know was that the next 5 months of my life would be a 38-season binge of Survivor. This current season, Island of the Idols, is the first one I've ever seen live. I'm used to being able to just go from one episode straight on to the next. So every time that I watch Survivor, the next 6 days I feel this constant void for Survivor content. Now, because of that, I feel this compulsive need to contribute back, to give back to the community that has given so much to me. So I figured I would cast my own season, sort of come up with a format that CBS can use in the future. Now, it's also worth mentioning there is another YouTuber that kind of inspired this video. His name is Peridium. He does a lot of Big Brother and Survivor content. If you're into either of those shows, definitely worth checking out. On his channel, he planned out Survivor Heroes vs. Villains 2, the sequel to one of the best seasons of Survivor ever. And I figured I would pay tribute to that by planning out the final installment in one of Survivor's most loved trilogies, Fans vs. Favorites 3.
These fans have finally been given the chance to be a contestant in their favorite game, but they're completely unaware that they'll be playing against some of their favorite survivors from seasons past.
You could be a fan of the Boston Red Sox, man, but you don't want to play against the Boston Red Sox. You're going to get your ass handed to you.
Now, when you're planning out a season as well-loved as the Fans vs. Favorites series, you gotta do it justice. So, I did a little bit of research on the previous 2 seasons to figure out how we should format this one. Now, both the previous Fans vs. Favorites season, Micronesia, Season 16, and Season 26, Caramoan, they follow the same format. There are the 10 returning players, the favorites, and then 10 new players to the game, the fans. But when I was comparing the two, I realized that all of these seasons are comprised of second-time returners. So, if a player has played more than 2 times, that disqualifies them from being in a Fans vs. Favorites season. Additionally, in all of these casts, no previous winners. So if you've won before, you're disqualified. I also learned that these previous 2 seasons tend to like pairs from previous seasons or triplets. However, in both of these seasons, there is a max of 3 players from each season. In Micronesia, this was Ozzy, Parvati, and my personal favorite, Penner from Survivor Race Wars. And in Caramoan, we had Special Agent Phil Shepard, Andrea, and Francesca from Survivor Boston Rob, as well as Dawn, Cochran, and Baby Hance from Survivor Dragon Slayer. Additionally, in these seasons, there are certain tropes that they like to throw in, like the character who made it all the way to the end but wasn't able to win it. In Caramoan, this was Special Agent Phil Shepard, and in Micronesia, this was both Ozzy and Amanda. Which, when you think about it, it starts to make sense why their relationship didn't work out. But not only do we want to follow the format of the previous seasons, we want to improve upon it. The thing that stands out the most, in Caramoan, both the terms fans and favorites were interpreted pretty loosely. In the favorites, we have Francesca, who was voted out first, only to repeat that immediately the second time around. Across 2 seasons, this woman only has 2 episodes of screen time. That's not a favorite. Also, we had Brandon Hance. Was he ever anybody's favorite?
I feed myself!
And to turn it back on the fans, these were the most forgettable people this show has ever seen. One of the other things that I really wanted to include in this season was the fan-to-favorite story. Eric Reichenbach was a fan in Micronesia and then returned as a favorite in Caramoan, which I absolutely loved. The problem with that, again, is that the fans in Caramoan sucked. There's absolutely nobody in that cast I would want to see return again. Because of this, I think that we should have Eric return for a third time on Island of the Idols or something. We've shit on that guy far too long for a simple mistake. You know, it's time that he got his face carved into wood. Now that we've laid the groundwork and the format of this season, let's go ahead and pick our 10 favorites. For the 10 returning players, I wanted to make sure 5 were guys, 5 were gals. All about equality here. And I think my first pick on this list is going to surprise absolutely nobody. I would love to see a return from Christian of David vs. Goliath fame. I think calling Christian a favorite is a bit of an understatement here. Christian is one of the most impactful characters, the most lovable characters this show has seen in recent history. So you gotta see him return here. Having another installment in the Fans vs. Favorites series and not having Christian be in it would be a crime. Christian is also a definite lock at some point in time. He's gonna return, so this seems like the ideal season to have it happen. Come on, Probst. You know you want to. Also from David vs. Goliath, I would like to see a return from Angelina. I'll be the first to admit, first time around, wasn't a big fan of Angelina. She was a bit much for me. But when I rewatched this season, she really stood out as one of the powerhouses of this season. David vs. Goliath has an absolutely amazing cast. One of the best casts I think this show has ever seen. You gotta be doing something right if you stand out in a cast that good. She also fulfills the almost won the game trope, which brings up a whole slew of questions. Will she learn from her mistakes, or will she make the same ones? Will somebody loan her a jacket, or will she have to steal one? And will she ever stop talking about giving up immunity for rice? I don't know, but I want to find out. From Edge of Extinction, I would love to see a return from Rick Devens. Devens is a bit of a polarizing character. You either love him or you hate him. I am definitely on the love him side of things. For me, it's impossible not to enjoy just balls to the wall, fun gameplay. Someone who just appreciates being in the game as much as Devens did. You love to see it. If he was that entertaining in a less than stellar season, imagine how great he would be in a cast like this one. And additionally, I think Devens sort of checks the fan-to-favorite story. Because in his first season, he was definitely a fan. And he made such a lasting impact that it would only make sense to bring him back this time. Also from Edge of Extinction, would love to see a return from Lauren O'Connell. Lauren's story the first time around was one of adversity, just trying to survive at any cost. I would like to see what she can do on a stacked team like this one. Also, after giving us the fantasy duo of Lauren and Kelly teaming up, I would love to see potentially a Black Widow Brigade 2.0 in this season. And I think if you're going to try and build that, Lauren is one of the best places to start. In our most recent season, I would love to see a return from Jamal. Of the cast this season, Jamal is one of the more likely ones to return. He brings such a unique presence to the game. He's incredibly well spoken. Also, his game was very up and down. One moment he would be doing fantastic, the next he would be playing idols incorrectly or getting the worst advantage Survivor has ever given out. Because of his abrupt exit, it just didn't feel like a fulfilling end to that story. So I want to see him come back. I want to see him improve. I want to see him in this season. Also, I would like to see a return from Kelly Kim of Island of the Idols. Personally, I think she's one of the best game players of the current cast. She manufactured the Jack blindside and then went on to find 2 more idols. She went home with them, but she found them. And I think that opens the door for sort of a James redemption arc. Will she learn from her past mistakes, or will somebody make a move even stupider than that? Similar to Jamal, her story felt like an abrupt, unfulfilling end, so I want to see her continue that in this season. And I think she's a very strong pick for our Black Widow Brigade 2.0, which I am trying to manufacture at this point. I'm trying to pick people that I think fit the bill, because I want to see it again. I would also like to see a return this season from one of my favorites in recent history, Jay from Millennials vs. Gen X. Jay is just another really fun character to watch. He probably has a little bit more game savviness than Devens does, which is exciting to me. He's a chaotic presence to even out the lawful characters like Jamal and Christian. I think what's most exciting about Jay is
Jay has an idol. Jay has an idol.
We know Jay has an idol.
I can confirm Jay has an idol.
Jay does have an idol.
That's good to know.
From Heroes vs. Healers vs. Hustlers, I would like to see a return out of Jessica. Jessica was a really good game player out of a season I try not to think about that much, but it did seem like she was really running the game pre-merge, and I would like to see whether or not she would run a season like this one or need to adapt in a different way. Also, a strong contender for the Black Widow Brigade. So, lastly, for the guys, I would like to see a return out of John from David vs. Goliath. Part of the fun of a Fans vs. Favorites season is seeing those unlikely team-ups, and I think it's time for a Brochacho reunion.
Brochacho? Who's the president of the Brochachos? We have to have an election.
I'm happy to accept this, this honor of now broing down with these massive Goliaths of the game, and that they've somehow seen me fit to join their group.
Christian and John never got the chance to work together like I had hoped they would in the first season that they shared, so I would love to see a renewed opportunity at that this time around. Also, if you're bringing back the titular David, I like the idea of bringing back the titular Goliath as well. Can never have too much David vs. Goliath. Keep that in mind, CBS. You can lean as heavily on David vs. Goliath as you want to. I would not take issue with that. And last but not least, I would like to see a return out of Wendy from Edge of Extinction. Her antics in the game were almost never about gameplay. It was more about camp life and other people having to adapt their games around Wendy. Wendy's positive, can-do attitude is really fun to watch on screen. I think it would be very fun in a season like this one. And I think even more than some of the other picks on this list, Wendy is definitely a favorite. She fits the bill more than she might on a different returner season. But now that we've casted our favorites, how do we cast the fans? How do we avoid the pitfalls of Karamoan and get people who actually care about this game? Well, part of that is to get people who live and breathe Survivor. There are so many super fans out there that would fit the bill so perfectly that you don't need to just pick a weak cast of people who have kind of seen the show to get steamrolled by the favorites. I think that the fans can stand a legitimate chance. In the case of Devins or of Adam, who went on to win Millennials vs. Gen X, a fan, if chosen correctly, can have a huge impact on this show. And one of the most obvious choices for this season would be me. I just spent 3 hours of my day off filming a video that I'm not getting paid for. Now, I'm going to keep my pitch under 3 minutes, CBS, because I know how you like your audition tapes. You've seen 2 of mine. I don't know what was wrong with them. This will act as my 3rd. My qualifications, I have a journal full of gameplay notes that I kept throughout my 38-season binge. I have played the Survivor Party game. I lost because I brought a threat to the merge, but I won't be making that mistake again. I also want to do this game justice, I want to play it the way it deserves to be played, with a smile on my face like a Tyson or a Devins. And I would love to play, mostly because I just love this game and have studied it and think I could do well, but I also want to see what I'm made of. This game also challenges you. It pushes you to dig deep and to really find what you're made of. And I look forward to that opportunity because Survivor provides it in a way that you might not get normally in life. There you go, CBS. You're welcome, all right? I just gave you a whole season on a silver platter. Do with it what you want, even if it's throw it in the trash. If you're interested in this season at all, I'll accept payment via wire transfer or just letting me be in the season, okay? Either one works fine. But how about you guys, my unnamed audience watching this video? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Who would you have on this list? Okay, let me know in the comments below. I hope to see you back next video. I hope you enjoyed yourself. If you did, give me an old subscribe, a big old thumbs up, all that shit. And I'll see you in the next video. Not sure what it'll be, but it's gonna be a fun time. I'm confident of that. Peace.